The kind of grief that I want to share with you is not about losing a loved one. Do you know that if you genuinely desire into a better version of your health, you have to know that you are going to go through this 5 stages of grief. My goal of sharing this is to make you understand that anybody who chooses to be healthier will inevitably have to go through the painful healing process. And it is not to scare you, but to prepare you so that you have better chances of success. It's painful, but let me ask you, isn't pain a currency for liberation and relief? As the famous quote goes, no pain, no gain, right? My mom and I talk every week or 3 times a week over the phone. One morning she called me and she said, "I'm sorry, but I'm giving up. I've decided I want to stop all these pills and injections." I knew stopping all those meds was like suicide. So I was about to witness my mom give up 30 years of battle with diabetes and its complications. There I was, starting my fight with the same disease. What do you do when your entire life gets disrupted and you are about to witness profound loss? I know for sure that if I refuse to see what's coming and I don't do anything about it, only 2 things happen. 1, nothing. 2, suffer. The formula for suffering is to take some massive stress that you cannot control and then fight. The more you fight, the more stress you will have. You have to step into a different mode, and that's the only way to get out of there. If you're going to have an incredible life, you must create a new you. You have got to create a new you, and don't forget that. Let go of the old sick version of you. Allow yourself to grieve over the loss. Please let the old version of you die so a new you can be born. Hey, what's up everybody? It's Dr. Adelita and welcome to my Sunday Drive. I'm here live every Sunday to bring you valuable information, and my hope, my only hope, is that you take this knowledge, whatever you learn from this video and my other videos, apply what you learn and take action. From podcasts, articles, and videos, these are all available free in my website that you can get your hands on free. And you will notice that the underlying message of everything I say or write has been and will always be this: our body has the ability to heal quicker the sooner we accept the hard truth that it's us who's been hurting it all this time. So come on and let's dive to our topic today. It is one of those hard truths we all go through. It's inescapable and could be heartbreaking when you are going through it. It's something you know is forthcoming, but can never be prepared enough to face it until it's there. What I'm referring to, my friends, is grief. Grief. The kind of grief that I want to share with you is not about losing a loved one. Do you know that if you genuinely desire to step on or step into a better version of your health, you have to know that you are going to go through this 5 stages of grief. And I feel this is very important. As I walk you through each of the stages of grief, again, this is not a loss of a loved one. For those who are just joining us, this is about going through the similar process of as if you're losing a loved one when you're actually genuinely trying to achieve the best version of your health and your life. So as I walk you through each of the stages of grief, I will share my journey and why it was necessary for me to grieve and how I came out of it. And hopefully these pearls will be very helpful for you because I have shared this with a few of my friends and I decided I'll share it with you. So that when you realize that you are going through the stages yourself, you know you are not alone. My goal is not to say, hey, look at me, how cool I am. I have a great life. I'm healthier than you. Or no, that's not my goal. My goal of sharing this is to make you understand that anybody who chooses to be healthier will inevitably have to go through the painful healing process. And it is not to scare you, but to prepare you so that you have better chances of success. Yes, it is painful, and I'm never ever going to sugarcoat it. It's painful, but let me ask you, isn't pain a currency for liberation and relief? As the famous quote goes, no pain, no gain, right? So let's talk about this. First, I want to tell you the side story of the turning point and why I desired to be healthy, and how I was going through the stages of grief. What was the turning point? Here's the story. My mom and I talk every week or 3 times a week, over the phone. She lives in the Philippines. I live here in the US. One morning, she told me how she felt about her health condition. She has uncontrolled diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, asthma, hyperacidity, depression, osteoporosis. Her mobility was restricted because her legs would easily swell up. One morning, I can never forget that. One morning she called me and she said, what I'm going to tell you is very important, but I want you to understand where I'm coming from. And she said, I'm sorry. I asked, what are you sorry for? She replied, I know my life now depends on medications, but I'm giving up. I've decided I want to stop all these pills and injections that I've been taking for the last 30 years. She was on 13 different kinds of prescription medications. Those did not include the supplements. 13 prescription medications, including insulin. She said, I cannot make myself swallow these pills anymore. The cost's getting too expensive. Just looking at them makes me feel sick to my stomach already. And even if I can force myself to keep taking these meds, I feel in my body that I'm not getting better and will never be. My mom has been very compliant with her meds, and she's been taking them religiously for 30 years. Hearing those words from her was heartbreaking because as a doctor, I knew stopping all those meds was like suicide. I was quiet for a minute, and she assured me, don't feel guilty. Whatever happens to me, it's not your fault. I just made a decision. It's just that there's nothing else you could do, she said. And she's tired and she finds no sense in continuing all her meds when the her quality of life continued to decline. She has a point. And what I said was, I don't know what to do right now, but I believe there's something out there that can help us. Little did I know, a few weeks later, I learned that I also became diabetic. I learned that my A1C continued to climb, right? So I was about to witness my mom give up 30 years of battle with diabetes and its complications. And there I was, starting my fight with the same disease. What do you do? What do you do when your entire life gets disrupted and you are about to witness profound loss? I bet you don't have to wait for that loss. You will be experiencing the pain of loss. And that's where I was in 2017. I saw my blood sugar, my weight climbing for the last 5 years, but I didn't care. I didn't care until I got that call from my mom. Suddenly, I got scared. Suddenly, I felt so unsure of what my future hold if I continue like this, or could not stop my diabetes from progressing. I'll still be like my mom. And I know at that time, I know for sure that if I refuse to see what's coming and know I'm sure I'm not gonna like it, and I don't do anything about it, only two things happen. One, nothing. Two, suffer. I should know, because that's what I see every day in my patients. So I decided I'm going to embark on a new healing journey. So when I decided I'm going to step into this different world, I didn't know that I have to go through the 5 stages of grief. Now, the 5 stages of grief is based from Kubler-Ross grief cycle. The first stage is denial. I was in denial. I often felt confused. I was often felt confused of what to do and where to start. Everything was so overwhelming, I was also fearful. I feared that I had nothing else to fall back on if I failed. Already I was thinking of failing even though I was just starting. But I was fearful and I was doubtful. I was so doubtful. I understood what I had to change in my diet, but can I trust myself to do what's necessary? All these questions were in my head. At that time I was in denial stage. But I didn't stay long in that stage because I spent more time in anger. I remember I felt angry about the fact that I spent 17 years of my life becoming a doctor who knew nothing now to save me and my mom. Isn't that ironic? 4 years in pre-med, another 4 years in medical school, 1 year for postgraduate internship, then took the medical board exam, and then reviewed for the American board of, the U.S. medical licensure exam, and then spent another 3 years in the internal medicine training, and then another 4 or 5 years in as a specialist. And there I was, clueless, no idea how to save my mom and myself. I was so angry. I was so frustrated. I was mad and deeply disappointed. I often got angry that even though I was doing my best to eat the right foods, it felt like I wasn't in control, still wasn't in control of the outcome. So what did I do? I started bargaining. I was struggling to find meaning by reaching out to others, telling my story to my patients, to my mom, who later converted, to my relatives, to my neighbors, to my friends. That was bargaining stage of the grief, of my grief, trying to find meaning of what I was doing. Now, even though I started to feel better physically, because I was eating right, my journey became lonely. It was a lonely road. At this stage, I felt isolated. I could sense people were avoiding me. Their watchful eyes often made me feel alienated. I felt so isolated and helpless because I could not control what they're going to think about me. And more often than not, I could sense, the distancing of my friends and avoiding me to be around with them. So it was, I should say, a lonely but meaningful stage of the grief. Now, let me tell you one thing. The formula for suffering is to take some massive stress that you cannot control, and these are the people around you, and then fight against what they believe. The more you fight, the more stress you will have. You have to step into a different mode, and that's the only way to get out of there. When you have done that, congratulations! You are in the last stage. Acceptance. Acceptance. Not to say you are accepting that you are right and they are wrong. For me, the acceptance stage was not like I'm healthy and others are not. It wasn't that. But my acceptance is just accepting that it is what it is. That if you have to dream of becoming or feeling different with your body, living a different life, you have just got to do something different than what other people are doing. So, accepting that it is what it is, and I have to deal with it. Now, the grieving process, this 5 stages, is not a linear. That means if you've gone through anger and bargaining, you're good, you won't come back to it. No, you may move back and forth between stages, or experience them in a different order. Some people will linger more in anger or depression before they can accept. Some people are stuck with the denial stage. Now, once you get to acceptance, you are usually told that you can go on and you're okay. But that's not the final step. Although there are 5 stages and we've covered that, but that acceptance is not the final step, my friends. If you're going to have an incredible life, you must create a new you. You have got to create a new you, and don't forget that. It's a new world for you. After going through those stages, it's a new world for you. And you have to create a new you then, right? Who you are is more than anything that can be done to you. Again, who you are is more than anything that can be done to you. And to create a new you, you have to let go of what was. Let go of the old sick version of you. Allow yourself to grieve over the loss of your old you, no matter how painful and long it takes. Healing is a painful process that guarantees a beautiful and meaningful life. Please let the old version of you die so a new you can be born. Thank you for joining me, everyone. I hope you'll make it a Sunday routine to join me live here in the Lifestyle Changer MD. That's every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And to my kababayans in the Philippines, it's Sunday, 11 p.m. Thank you for listening and for watching. Please share this video if you find it helpful to your friends and relatives. Bye, everyone. I'll see you next week.